shaking his head as if coming out of a deep trance. What? We have been staring at her for, like, the past 2 hours. Ben nodded in agreement, his youthful honesty overriding his manners. Well, she is pretty. Barbara Jean beamed, placing a hand over her heart, touched by the genuine compliment. I am pretty. Reba sighed, acknowledging the undeniable truth of the situation. Well, of course you are. You have always been pretty. But she is new pretty. Van nodded enthusiastically, completely oblivious to his wife standing right next to him. Oh, Van, that is such a funny story you can tell to your next wife, Shan commented dryly, glaring daggers at her husband. Van, suddenly realizing the danger he was in, tried to backpedal, but his foot was already too far in his mouth. Barbara Jean leaned forward, a curious expression on her face. Van, you really think that I am new pretty? Van nodded, his brain disconnecting from any sense of self-preservation. Oh yeah, you are like a bleached-out Halle Berry. Barbara Jean clapped her hands together, absolutely thrilled. Thank you. Van smiled back, oblivious to Cheyenne's growing fury. You are welcome. I am going to go make some calls. He turned and quickly exited the kitchen, narrowly escaping the wrath of his wife. Ben leaned forward across the table, his adolescent curiosity getting the better of him. He looked at Barbara Jean with wide, questioning eyes. So, Barbara Jean. Yeah. Barbara Jean answered brightly, picking up a donut and admiring its sugary glaze. Is it true that when you lose a bunch of weight you want to do, you know? Ben made a vague, bouncing motion with his hands, his face turning a deep shade of red.
Bounce ka bounce.
Cheyenne gasped, slapping her hand over her brother's mouth. Van! She yelled out toward the hallway, confusing her brother for her husband in her momentary panic. She then turned to Ben, horrified. Barbara Jean laughed off the awkwardness, her good nature shining through. She looked at Cheyenne, noticing the young woman's sudden drop in confidence. Oh, Cheyenne, do not be upset. You are still hot. Cheyenne offered a weak, grateful smile, desperately needing the validation. Barbara Jean tilted her head, analyzing Cheyenne's look. You are like a bleached-out Jan Brady. Cheyenne's face fell instantly. The comparison to the perpetually overshadowed middle sister of the Brady bunch was a direct hit to her fragile self-esteem. Januari Jan Brady. Reba stepped in, her maternal instincts rushing to protect her daughter's feelings. I am Marcia, Reba declared firmly, adopting a dramatic pose. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. The kitchen erupted into a moment of chaotic laughter, easing the tension. Barbara Jean leaned against the counter, her eyes sparkling with excitement. So, Reba, I got an idea. You should come down to the gym and meet Jordan, my trainer. Reba narrowed her eyes, instantly suspicious of any place that required spandex and sweating in front of strangers. Seriously, he will change your life, Barbara Jean continued, her voice filled with genuine passion. I mean, he is so much more than a personal trainer. He taught me how to work out and eat right. Barbara Jean's eyes grew dreamy, staring off into the distance as she thought about her new mentor. We go over the clothes I am going to wear, the movies I am going to see. Reba stopped wiping the counter, her eyebrows shooting up toward her hairline. Whoa, the movies you are going to see? What has that got to do with you getting in shape? Barbara Jean shrugged gracefully, completely unbothered by the boundary-blurring relationship she was describing. Oh, nothing. We just have the same sense of humor. That Tim Allen just kills us. I mean, whether he is playing a dog or Santa Claus, you just buy it. Barbara Jean turned her full, radiant attention back to Reba, clasping her hands together in a pleading motion. So, you will come meet Jordan? Reba shook her head firmly, picking up her glass of green sludge. No. Oh, come on, Reba. I want my best girlfriend to meet my best boyfriend, Barbara Jean pleaded, before her own words caught up with her. Her eyes widened in panic, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Boyfriend? Oh, whoops. That came out wrong. Oh. Reba stared at her, the gears in her mind turning as she analyzed the slip of the tongue. But she decided to let it slide for now. She held up her power smoothie. Well, thanks anyway. But I am just going to be here with my smoothie. Reba took a massive gulp, her face contorting into a mask of pure agony as the taste hit her tongue. Delicious? She lied through her teeth, her voice strained. Just like fruit gravy. Later that afternoon, the house had quieted down. Reba was sitting in the living room, trying to read a magazine, when Brock walked in. He looked completely out of sorts. His hair was slightly disheveled, and he paced the floor with the anxious energy of a caged tiger. The midlife crisis that usually simmered quietly beneath the surface had suddenly boiled over into full-blown panic. "Oh, hey, Barbara Jean," Brock said loudly, practicing his casual greeting to the empty room. He turned and saw Reba sitting on the couch. Reba lowered her magazine, watching her ex-husband pace back and forth. "Here you are. Listen, how would you like to go out and grab a quick lunch? Just the two of us?" Brock continued his practice run, his voice sounding desperate and strained. Reba watched him pantomime a conversation with his current wife. Brock changed his voice, mimicking Barbara Jean's high, airy tone. "Oh, honey, I cannot. I am going to the gym." Brock switched back to his own deep, anxious voice. "Well, cannot you skip it just this once? Come on. I will take you to that romantic French place you like so much." He switched back to the high-pitched mimicry. "Really? Skip the gym and eat French food? No confondu bras." Brock slumped his shoulders, the imaginary rejection crushing him. He looked over at Reba, his face a portrait of utter misery. "Man, she blew me off again," he confessed, sinking into the armchair opposite Reba. "All she wants to do is go down to the gym and spend time with Jordan." Reba folded her magazine, placing it gently on the coffee table. She leaned forward, offering her full attention. "Her trainer." "Exactly," Brock said, running a hand nervously through his hair. "Frankly, I like the new but the new attitude not so much." Reba could not help but laugh, a short, sharp sound of genuine amusement. The irony of the situation was almost too rich. She looked Brock up and down, taking in his slightly softening waistline and his thinning hair. "Oh, that is really funny coming from the old but." Brock ignored the jab, too consumed by his own anxiety to engage in their usual banter. "Jordan is so great. Jordan is so toned and funny," Brock complained, mimicking Barbara Jean's tone of adoration. He leaned forward, looking at Reba with intense, paranoid eyes. "Well, I got news for you. Nobody is toned and funny." Reba sighed, feeling a sudden wave of pity for the man. Despite their history, she hated seeing him so vulnerable and insecure. "Brock, you are overreacting." "Oh, really?" Brock challenged, his voice rising in pitch. "Yeah, I think she might be having an affair with this guy." Reba stared at him in pure shock. The idea was absurd. Barbara Jean with her trainer? Brock nodded frantically, pacing the floor again. "I mean, sure, he is probably a better man than you are, better looking and younger. But..." Brock stopped pacing, a sudden idea illuminating his desperate mind. He pointed a finger at Reba. "That is it. Reba, I need you to help me out." Reba leaned back, crossing her arms protectively over her chest. "I want you to go down to the gym and see if there is anything going on. You know, spy on him for me." Reba shook her head vehemently. "No way." She looked at Brock, her expression turning serious and thoughtful. She knew Barbara Jean better than almost anyone, despite the complex web of their intertwined lives. "You know, Barbara Jean may have a long list of faults, and I have that list if you need a copy. But she is nothing if not faithful." Brock scoffed, waving his hand dismissively. "Yeah, right, up until now." He leaned against the back of the sofa, looking deeply troubled. "But now that she is thin and hot, she has all kinds of options." Reba stood up, walking over to him. She placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, trying to impart some hard-earned wisdom. "Look, Brock, if it is worrying you that much, be honest with her. Tell her how you feel. Tell her that you